Hey Casey, I'm just going to do this with a video because it's the fastest way for me to like go through your stuff and kind of comment in real time. I have your project up in my editor and I have it over here. Just looking at it, it looks all right. Like styling's okay, but I'm gonna go through it and just tell you what I think. This isn't necessarily you know, take it with a grain of salt. The first thing I see with your HTML here is primarily I see a lot of IDs. I think some IDs are okay, but I feel like there's some overuse here. IDs are super specific. I'm sure as I get in here, yeah, I see you're using IDs. It's tough to tell you anything. It's one of those things that while you're taught that ID should be unique to the page, like classes are much more common to be used as the selector for elements out there. IDs are probably pretty infrequent except inside of forms. As you see, you have the ID date input here. But let's just kind of go through it. You have age subtext here. I have some thoughts related to that, but it's kind of, you'll have to forgive me because we kind of jump around. You change it here in this line here by getting it and then changing the inner HTML. It seems a little inconsistent to change this text to make it work versus like here you hide or show something. Like I kind of feel like you want to adopt the same strategy for both. Like either have your different results already made up in their markup and hide and show them, or swap in the text on the fly like you did. I think being consistent is something that people want to see. You also have this empty div here. I don't know if you noticed that. Sometimes it's harder to see in HTML. If you were doing something like React, it might show itself because it would be self-closing. But I don't know. This may be important, maybe isn't. Empty divs should, if they are used for something, they should have a class to explain their decorative reasoning. The other thing I see here is the use of on-click, on-submit. This isn't really done a lot in HTML. It is common in obviously something like React when you use it as a prop that will do the event listener binding for you. More common than doing something like this. Like I've never really done something like this in my life. Would be somewhere in your main JS doing something like document get element by ID, your form. I don't know what your form is. And then add event listener. And you would have something like on submit, and then handle submit. And then you would write a function like function handle submit, and we know it'll get an event, and we do prevent default to prevent it from automatically attempting to do a post to the URL of the form. That's kind of a form gotcha. You already know it, I think, because you did the return false thing, but this is how you could manage that. And then you have the logic of the handler here, and if the form is ever removed from the page, let's just copy this line really quick. We can then remove event listener later. So that would probably be a bit more common to see. It would definitely knowing how to be comfortable doing add and remove event listener will go a long way to showing people that you're good at what you're doing, you feel confident in it. But going back, that's kind of some of the stuff I see. I mean, I don't know that I'd hold it against you. It's something I could teach you, but it's something I see. Yeah, otherwise, I think this is okay. I don't see anything that gives me like, oh my gosh, this is awful. I haven't checked. Does this label actually do what I think it does? Remember me? Okay, it does. Okay, cool. Um, oh, because it's wrapping the input. That's why you didn't need the ID. Got it. Okay. Here's just something to know. This actually worked out for you because the default type of button is submit. The other thing you can do here is button's default type is submit, which means a button inside a form will automatically try to fire the on submit form. This handler, like, you don't even need the on click for the button if you have the form submit. That could be something to talk about or do in your main JS. But all other buttons like these need, it's annoying, but these need to be type button. It'll work, but it's one of those things that if you're really trying to nail things down, being able to say the default type on button is submit, you need to make them buttons when they're just normal actions. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, for the most part, this is looking fine. Let's jump into the styles. I haven't really looked at this one yet. One thing you might want to do is kind of have one thing you want to maybe show in your CSS is some kind of like organization. So I'm looking at this, and there's really two strategies I see a lot out there in the world. I see things grouped by like what they do, like these four are grouped together, and that's good. But typically you'd see stuff like layout comes first, and then maybe like padding, and then margin, and then, you know, or background and stuff like that. So there, just get in the habit of having some kind of order. I'm not really seeing one here. The other option is to just alphabetize them. This is something I would prefer my devs to not do. So this is the shorthand background. In this case, I think it's better to just do the explicit thing. In this case, like this one should be image, and these should be color. The reason you want to be explicit is background, being a shorthand, cascades down and implies more things. There's a really great article about it. You should look it up. It's called by oh, is it Harry? It's CSS Wizardry. Shorthands considered anti-pattern, maybe? Trying to remember. Yeah. Go check out this. I will try and remember to send it to you in the tweet. Okay, first thing I see. Okay. I see hide, display none, important. If I ever see the word important, it makes me wonder, like, what have they structured incorrectly? This should be really seldomly used. If you write really great CSS, you'll pretty much never need it, just so you know. But yeah. Let's see. Padding seems fine. Cursor pointer. The things I would love to see are things like going the extra mile would be like button hover, button disabled, stuff like that. Maybe button active. You know, that could be showing you're going the extra mile. So there is that. Let's see, age gate. Sorry, let me go back now. Age gate. You have align item center, and then you have the width all 100%. Okay, so I don't jump to do display flex column a lot because it's so close to just default box model. In your case, almost you're kind of doing more work than necessary. If you just had it so that well, okay, so this is a block level item, meaning it goes the full width of your container. This is block level. This is a block level. This could be made block level. You'd have to increase the size of this to 100% because inputs typically have minimum widths, like 160 or something like that. This goes the way it is. And then your button is typically display inline block. But if you wanted to make sure these didn't line up on the same line, you know, there's nothing wrong with maybe a wrapping div instead. But what I'm trying to get at is display flex column is probably not necessary. Sometimes it's extra stuff. Just get used to thinking in block level, and sometimes you'll realize like, oh, I don't really need all this. I can't verify for sure right now, but it makes me think that it might not. Okay. Brightness button hover. Interesting. I've never seen it done this way. That's cool. I don't even know what that is. Sorry, I'm gonna look it up real quick. I've never seen it. What's the... Oh, okay. So just not Internet Explorer. Interesting. Okay. I'll look that up later. It's just not something I've seen. You know, you might as well make it for all your buttons, though, in this case. So, label, text align, left. This is default, isn't it? Do you even need this? Yeah, that's another thing to get really good at is just know your defaults. Oh, I think I have to refresh this to get it to do anything. Okay, yeah. Know your CSS defaults really well, and then you won't have to worry about things like that. Yeah, actually, I don't think you need this one here. Well, you might because you put it inside a flex. Yeah, let's just try and yeah, see, do you even need that? Do you need this at all? Yeah, see, you don't need that. Just something to think about. And then height 100V width. Okay. Yeah, let's give it a try. Screen and max width. Interesting. Okay. I can dig it. I think you might see... if you're going to give someone this, I want you to be able to explain why you did it like desktop to mobile versus instead of doing mobile to desktop. So, like if you had built this the other way, you might need less CSS because it's already just following document flow, and then this might be like min width, and you do it this way. I personally write all my stuff going from this way up, from desktop to big. Sorry, this is taking a long time, but it's faster to me writing. Okay, moving on to your JS. You know, I'm not seeing a lot that's bugging me. One thing I do see is this. So if I see a string used over and over, this is begging to be pulled out. Let's just make it a const. We'll call it storage key. Constants like this typically are done in screen case, but what this does is I can then find all of these, and I'm going to replace them with that. So that's one way to kind of start to dry things up a little bit. This double equals is less common than triple equals, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're doing this because parsing some JSON would leave this as the true string. Possibly, I could be wrong. I would just need to double check, but just know that. Let's see. I mean, you have this string here a bunch too. We could do, it sounds silly, but it's just so you don't have to worry about getting the string correct. You know, we can do hide. In fact, I'll call it hide class. And then we'll do class. This might be the simplest way. I don't know why math absolute should be here. There should be like and there, I feel like there's got to be a way that doesn't necessarily need this magic number of 1970. I think it has something to do with this, get UTC full year, but I think if I date get full year, you should just be able to get the year out of it, and then maybe you don't need the UTC full year and the weird magic date kind of thing. I could be wrong, but that's something I would definitely be double checking. And this absolute value here means, I don't know, do you have a check that I'm going to put something way in the future, 2075. See, I got in by busting your use of math absolute. By taking a value that was so high, its negative value, when made absolute, which makes it positive, is greater than 21. So you got a bug right here, buddy. Let's see, alert happy birthday. Okay, sure. And then we already talked about this, about how like you're replacing the text there. Function, handle change, remember, equals. That's cool. Where was handle change used? Was it on the checkbox? Okay, so one thing you could do, rather than storing it, is you get the event. If you added this as a add event listener, you know, on that input, what you could do is then set the input dot and you had a reference to the input. God, why is it doing that? Checked equals e dot target dot checked. I'm trying to remember. I think the event is what the next checked is. So that's something to look into. It's just more common to use what either the checked or the value that comes off the target of the event. Let's see, use reset their local storage for testing purposes. This right here, this is an odd side effect. So it makes sense to do that, clear local has the responsibility of clearing local storage. What's not obvious is why clear local should also reload the page. So this is something that would maybe trigger some alarms, in the sense of this function is now currently overloaded with responsibilities. It would be maybe better to do to either break them out, make them separate buttons, or like there's probably just not really a need, but maybe this is fine for a interview. But I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing something like function refresh page location reload, and then refresh page. It might be weird, but then you can at least argue whether it needs to be there or not. So yeah, I think that's a good rundown of what I see. I'm trying to do this quickly on the fly. Yeah. I hope that helps, and best of luck. Let me know if there's anything you need to chat about a little more.